'Cause I'm taking the world, you'll see. They'll be calling me, calling me. They'll be calling me royalty. Best to give me loyalty. 'Cause I'm taking the world, you'll see. They'll be calling me, calling me. They'll be calling me royalty.
Hi guys, so welcome back to my Why It Worked and Why It Didn't series. So this time I'm doing why irobot worked and why, Jun-E didn't. Even though, both are good movies, but, I prefer irobot because of the way where it was made for the time. Because this was like a 2000s movie. It was done so well. And in this movie, I mean, it definitely has a good premise and is definitely similar to irobot, but goes in a different route of what it does with it. But, it could have been a lot better than it actually was. I mean, it definitely had a good premise and it definitely hits in certain areas, but not as well as irobot in comparison, man. Yeah. Because irobot, robots have basically taken over when it comes to, like, services. Like, when it comes to, like, having a maid and stuff, or probably shops as well, or cops. Like, they've taken over in a big way. For, I guess, Jun-E, there basically was like a war hero who basically died, and they ended up making like robots out of her to try like perfect her. But since it's not really going as well as irobot, for what they was able to do in that. But I mean, it's kind of a bit different though, because it's actually basically the same with what they want to do with Jun-E, where they basically want to make her like a service robot for all types of things, like, but not when it comes to like combats, because the main goal in Jun-E is to basically make like someone who can actually help end a war and try to get the same skills as the original person who was alive, who they're trying to copy. But then it gets to a point where they basically use this robot for like all types of service stuff, and since the main character has like a deep connection with the robot, just not really happy about that for what they plan to do with it, because they basically spent their whole life, and I'm just not really getting into specifics of who the character is, because spoilers if you haven't watched it, so I'm not really going to talk about that, like who the character is and stuff, because if you haven't watched it, I recommend it. I mean, it's not better than irobot, because that's why I'm comparing it to it, but it has similarities, and in some areas it does work. It's just irobot kind of does it better with its premise. Yeah. And this was Will Smith at his prime as well, before things went downhill for him, because he was in so many good movies back in the day. Yeah, and this was one of them. And just what they do with the robot as well. Yeah, because you basically see that they both have feelings as well, but the way how irobot gets to actually show it, it's done pretty well. I mean, you do see other robots in Jun-E who seem human, but they're actually robots, and it was kind of hard to guess as well. Yeah, so that's something that's also done well in both movies, but just the way how irobot does it, where you just seen like this robot basically learn, where they're kind of already established in Jun-E, and you can't even tell if they're human or robot. Like, you just felt like for most of the movie, like, these people are humans, but you find out later on they're not. Like, some of them. I mean, some of them are human, but then there's others that where you thought they was human, then actually not, and it's how they've been programmed. So, yeah, it's definitely done well. I just really like the way how they did it in iRobot better. Seeing this robot Sunny basically discover how humanity works and how everything works, and the kind of the laws and stuff, and just how they explore that, especially when it gets to the end and we get to like the conflict. I mean, Jun-E has like a moment like that, but it's a bit different compared to where the world would be in danger from all these robots, if they malfunction and go against their goals. It's just, the pacing was just better in iRobot, where Jun-E, there was a lot of slow moments trying to tell a story, but just not going far enough, and some of the things that I wanted at the beginning and midpoint, we got all that at the end, and I'm just like, oh, I wish we got more of this at the beginning and the midpoint, because there's certain things that should have happened in those parts, but they left it all to the end. And I'm just left like, I mean, because it has like a similar ending, basically the same ending in a way. And you know, I'm not gonna spoil that because I might end up reviewing both of these movies in the future, yeah, on my review channel. But yeah, it just didn't go all in with the ending, and I'm just left not fully satisfied with you know, John E. It's still a good movie, but could have been better. iRobot, it's a satisfying ending, a lot of action, but when it gets to the main message and that thing that kind of foreshadowed and it actually goes in a different direction, I'm at least happy with that ending, because you know, it kind of just basically puts you through a loop of how you thought it was going to end, but it actually goes in that direction. And yeah, I kind of like that better, yeah, because it also foreshadows it as well. So yeah, and that's my video on why iRobot works and why John E doesn't. Still both great movies, but you know, I prefer iRobot. So yeah, leave your comments down below on what you think of both movies and which one you prefer and what kind of does the premise better. But yeah guys, guess I'll end it here. Appreciate if you can leave a like. I'll see you in the next one. Peace. What am I?